Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shame Sundays. How y'all doing? It's Sunday, it's Sunday, it's Sunday. Sadly, I got to be here, but I'm here yet again. Hope everybody is well. Give y'all a second to pop in. Welcome to Mrs.SheSaid, Shame Sunday with Harris Tribe Media Group. I got Mr. He Said on the ones and twos. Appreciate you, love. This journey has been real. It has been real. I hope everybody is doing good. See who we got in here. Hey, IXL. Hope all is well. Come on now. Not Dr. Seuss. Peace to you, brother. Salute, salute. Yeah, so we back. Got a couple of things to reflect on, talk to y'all about. Give y'all a second to pop on in. Let me see. So I say my screen looked too big. Try to bring y'all here for a little reflection on the new modern world that we in. You know, some things are out of control, and we need to shine some light on it, bringing back shame. And shame is a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. I'm gonna ask it, are you conscious? Are you conscious of your foolish behavior? Some of you have been taught, don't even know. But it's running rampant. Shame is also a loss of respect or esteem, dishonor. You don't even know what honor is. Every week, the ticker at the bottom of my screen will have some very awesome, influential Black women that we can shine some light on to our younger generation. You know, even a post here and there, just giving some info. It's just one solution. You know, let's support the women who came before us for us to be here now with all the privileges that we have. So self-reflection is important. It is taking the time to think about, meditate on, evaluate, give some serious thought to your behaviors, your thoughts, your attitude, your motivations, and your desires. It's the process of diving deep into your thoughts. We are so consumed with technology, I don't think we have that much time to dive deep into our thoughts. Sometimes you have to be still. I don't think we practice that enough. Be still in your mind. Be still in yourself. Listen to your body. It's important. I don't think we do that enough. That's one solution. Change my ticker again. It's at least 30 influential Black American women to influence your children by, just in basic conversations with friends, bring it up. So we shine a lot of light on the negativity and the nasty part of the culture that society wants to dictate to us. Because it's been an agenda. Y'all know what it is. We don't own nothing. It's a damn shame. Peace, kings and dreams. Appreciate you popping in. Mr. Bryant, always good to see you, brother. Paris, welcome, welcome. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Shame Sunday. We got to do a little bit more self-reflecting. It's important. Stop ignoring the community around you, being blind to things, making excuses for the despair, the dishonor. It's amazing. But we're going to talk about some stuff. These women at the bottom of the screen has created an abundance of privileges for us females. And it seems we have no respect and honor for the path that they have laid for us. We're in a new culture. This generation is something else. They have no aspirations for family, cultivating a family with a mate. It's a different mindset. So us elders, we might have to do a little bit more work diving deep with our younger folk. So it's our duty. They think they're grown, but they're really not. So make note of those women down at the bottom of the screen. Peace to everybody popping in. We'll give it a little bit more time. It's Sunday. I know everybody's doing their Sunday's best, piling out of church and such, enjoying time with family, getting that Sunday dinner together, getting your mind right and ready for the rest of the week coming. I wish you all the best with doing that. I got to take that banner down. Sis just popped in the building. Red Lipstick Vibes is in the building. Appreciate you. Y'all make sure y'all smash that like button. Just tap it. Boop. All right, y'all want to get started? Oh man, it's been unique. You know, I don't like to turn on the TV. I try to avoid videos and such. But when you're on the social media platforms, it's just hard to not see something. So I'm starting to begin. I'm beginning to see an agenda. It's always been, but it's even more prevalent. It's more shoved and pushed in your face now. The agenda of our Black men. That's where I want to womanize them. It's getting to a point where we want them to be women. And how they present themselves in our society with the dressing, the clothing. Showing an abundance of gay men. I rarely see, heterosexual men on TV in the network. I'm just saying. And if they seem heterosexual at first, eventually it comes out something different. So this is what I'm noticing. Y'all can shed some light if y'all are seeing something else, but this is what I'm seeing. This is my reflection of what the media is pushing. It's amazing to me, us women are not mad that we have so many famous, influential gay men, being quite disrespectful, throwing shade on women and who we are and what we don't know. And it's cap. We real women are not offended by that shit. I just feel some, the shame. The roles are reversed now. Us heterosexual folk are shamed down. We're phobic because of our preference. It's amazing how the tables can turn. And not all, of course, but I know what I see. I know what I see on social media. They want to take words and change the whole definition to make it fit someone else's reality. It's becoming a bit much, y'all. What do y'all think about that? Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Or even the people who are upfront heterosexual men, they just seem really flamboyantly gay with their attire. It's been becoming a thing. I mean, I started to notice when the basketball guys were told they couldn't wear, hoodies and sweatsuits and such like that, and they started to dress up. And we got Dwayne Wade, is that his name? Yes. Wearing his clothing, and some others, things are quite tight and high waterish and, quite feminine to me, in my opinion. It's foolery. And I don't entertain it too much, I don't have the BET videos. I don't search for the new, none of that. So when I see it, I'm just like, what the heck? Women, we used to fight to not be sexually exploited. And now we're doing it ourselves. We're okay with it. It's women empowerment now. We're following the lead of gay men. That's what I'm seeing. Because I was even told this, just years ago. Gay men, the best friends to have, like they can teach you this and teach you that, but they're not women. They're not women. It's not the same. It's getting a little too disrespectful now. So I do have a video. And this is just one that came across. Man, oh man. Y'all ready? Am I able to pull it up? Okay. We gotta set up. Some things start to shock you. I scroll and my mouth just drop open like, okay. And I have no problem with people, choosing to live their life the way they want. No problem. But when you want to take, you can take her face out. You can go up a little. Yeah, that's what I want, the bottom part. Because she's talking. You know how they do. I couldn't get the original. Yeah. But it's just showing a whole, different skits of what it's looking like. Because I don't even entertain too much at award shows again. And when I do, I'm just, a little shocked. Give y'all a view.
This is the only acceptable depiction of a black man in 2022, at least in the eyes of the media. Working in a pink dress. All they gotta do is find a few people that's interested in humiliating themselves for a few $100,000 and they set. Coincidentally, the same people who control the media, same people that Kanye was just talking about, is somewhere in the corner laughing with a bucket of popcorn at our expense because this is a mockery. This is funny to them. This is funny when black men look like this. But black men say that they are Jews and God's chosen people. That's counsel worthy. But this is acceptable.
Right. True. What y'all think? What y'all think about that video? They sit back with their popcorn. It was a time that type of behavior wasn't accepted on these shows and, public platforms and such. I'm so confused. So, I kind of blame us women because we were the original fighters of not allowing these types of images, over sexualizing women, over sexualizing our little girls on the commercials and such. And we stopped. And I understand because everything is so vast and it's a fight, but anything, a petition. So, if anybody can drop their emails, I definitely wouldn't mind starting some type of petition because it's becoming out of control, and we have no control over the media. And it's a shame that our platforms that we're on, this is what they push. They push it because I don't want to see it. Why is it on mine? There's no way for me to adjust what I want to see on my feeds. So, even in parental guided YouTube streaming with the little one, the inappropriate commercials that come up. I'm just like, come on. You got to beep out something so it's inappropriate. It's inappropriate. So, you guys let me know what you think. Got the pleasantries going on. Welcome everybody. Yvette, peace, brother. Yes, got my caramel cappuccino, watching from the Bayou of Louisiana. Oh man. Blessings. That sounds really peaceful too. Well, I appreciate you popping in. Shame Sunday. I don't know if you caught that video, but they definitely have an agenda for our black men. So when I see you gentlemen on these platforms, sitting still in your masculinity, it's so appreciated because we kind of follow your lead on that, I have to say. Again, grew up with a lot of boys, so a lot of my little characteristics I definitely picked up from them, but to come into a space with my husband in our union and to see how still he could be. It's unique. It's unique. And I love the standards, the moral compass. Okay. But did y'all check that video? Correct me if I'm wrong. That was saucy? Okay. Yeah, it's being pushed hard. And it's getting to a point where we need to do something about it. So I'm going to get with sis and see how we can officially get, I can start a petition of some sort. Because it has to start somewhere, right? Change begins with at least one person. And they're dumbing y'all down. They've been doing that for years. That's why we used to monitor the way the children watch TV and what they watched and pointing out the differences of our shows from the shows that they were watching. So it was a lot of times we did that. We're talking 15 years ago. So even 15 years ago, Disney began to push the agenda of just the dumb parent, the elder in the scenes that is just not smart. The children are just smarter. They run the house, or the parents are just absent and not around, null and void. A bigger sibling is raising them. So they've been trying to push us out for a long time. So it's really creating some type of agenda. We really need to get back in focus of family and these children, these young adults, because they believe this stuff. They living in this reality. They coming up in it and they're praising it and they think it's pride to sexually exploit themselves. It's amazing to me. Shame. How y'all doing? B9 is in the building. Welcome, brother. I hope your Sunday has been pleasant thus far. Y'all are awesome. We in here. Listen, I want to talk about the equality that us women like to push and push and push. I don't see any equality for men. I was researching all morning for specifically domestic violence campaigns for men. Any type of this, I really just came across a hotline. So I am going to give you guys a hotline number for men who are experiencing domestic violence, someplace to call where they will not get laughed at. Because it's a damn shame. And the percentage is not much difference. 1 in 3 women will be in an intimate abusive relationship, and 1 in 4 men will be in an intimate relationship, domestically, violence. So when we screaming equality, I don't see any women screaming equality in that aspect for our guys. I've seen so many TikToks, not even TikToks, before even TikTok came, I've known so many men who, if they had to call the police and have called the police, they got laughed at. Or it wasn't taken seriously. Nothing happened. Or it winds up being reversed. Them believing the woman. And this is known. Men get sexually assaulted the same way women do, whether being intoxicated, overly intoxicated. So I'm here. I got to shed a light on it. Because I hear the women screaming it happens to men too. Don't like when I do that. But I don't care, because I need you to know this. I've heard stories. I've built with gentlemen who have had these things happen. So it's real. Paris checked in. I appreciate all y'all checking in. Yeah, you got it. All right, Paris Dunbar, I appreciate you. Black women have been about self for some time, and also feminism has led so many of our women into lesbianism. I appreciate your comment. What do y'all think about that? Just gave us more options, especially with being sexually freed, right? That means we're free to do whatever we want with whoever we want, change our mind whenever we want. No focus, no plan, no purpose. Just whenever my emotion change, I'm going to switch it up. This is where we at. Put this in the, sorry, y'all. Put this number in here. I thought I put it in the thing, but I didn't. My apologies. So 1-800 number I'm going to put up here. If you know someone, because, gentlemen sometimes build with each other and they'll say, my lady is this, my lady does that. Give them this number. Pass it on, share. Some of you gentlemen are definitely in a situation where you shouldn't be and you don't know how to get out. Ladies, it happens. Got 0 in the 800. They should know though. 1-800. It's 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. Domestic hotline, domestic violence hotline for men in the USA. It's not here. I was looking up, it was the UK and Australia. I'm like, okay. So don't think for 1 second it's not happening everywhere around the world. Ah, yes, we know that. Drama. What did I say? America's full of what its culture here, what's important here. Drama, sex, cheese, and bacon. So I agree with Army Vet. He said the algorithm says if you argue, you get more views on YouTube. I can believe that. I really don't care about the algorithm. I just care about the message. And I have young people, 4. So, one day I'm not on this planet, they can always look back, which is something when we like grandchildren looking back at their grandmother in her younger years, if this still all exists, So that's what I appreciate about it. The likes are cool, the comments, the praise. I appreciate all of y'all, but I can care less to get monetized. It's not about money for me. It'd be great. Not my life purpose. It's kind of to teach. Like these women at the bottom of my screen. Praise them. Praise them. Sir Hale is in the building. Hey, Sir Hale. How you doing? Let me get it together. Hope all is well. Tell Lady Hale I said, hey. Get my page back. See where I'm going with this next. Oh, man. So, the media definitely has an agenda that is pushing. And you gentlemen out there, I hope you guys are being safe. And if you have a woman that's violent, please try to get out of that situation. You're worthy. You're worthy of living a long, good life and not having someone abuse you. And I'm sure y'all don't hear that often. We have so many commercials and such, and it's really for women. But the percentage is not that different. So just wanted to bring that awareness. Again, that phone number is 1-800-799-SAFE. So if any gentleman needs any assistance with, reporting a domestic violence, do it there. At least you can keep a record. Good luck to you all with that. Man. We always talk about the shelters. There's really not many. It's a couple, maybe 1 or 2 in New York for men. So equality, ladies. Yeah, y'all be capping. We're not talking equality. Y'all just want more privileges than the privileges we already have. It's a lot of money being spent on it too. Billions of dollars a year. These hotlines receive 20,000 calls a day. 20 people per minute are assaulted in a domestic violence situation with an intimate partner. 15% of all crimes are committed is domestic violence related by an intimate partner. I put all this out there because we all need to vet better. Gentlemen, you are worthy and you do not deserve a woman putting her hands on you and speaking down to you and calling you names and telling you you are not shit. Get away from that. Shame on the women who do it. Who taught you that? A lot of it is learned behavior. And in my opinion, I think people who do that, they don't feel that good about themselves. Their self-reflection of is not as good. So you want to put somebody else down to make them feel how you feel. The man in the mirror, Michael Jackson. Just saying. Shame. So, gentlemen, you are worthy as well. I wish you all the best with that. Be looking out. Goodness gracious. Okay. I always got to go into parenting, right? Because it's important. It's important. It's important. It's important. Being a mother is important. There's honor in it. And we're not there anymore. It's not an honor. It's just another thing to do now. Right? Because we've talked about birthing people. We're going to have birthing stations. Like, it's just, what's going on? Knowledge and relationships is in the building. Peace to you, brother. Hope all is well. Paris chimed in and said, yes, women have learned a lot from the demon net. Yeah, I call it the idiot box. So just to believe it all, not know the difference between reality and fantasy, and trying to stick with it. Stay with it now. Stay in reality. It's hard. We all want to dream and manifest things. You got to do the work. Kings and Dreams is in the building. He said, we definitely need to vet better. We ignore red flags, especially when children are involved. You have to be selfless, no longer selfish. I agree. And self-absorption is rampant. Should be a pill people could take to avoid being this way. I don't think we got here as far as we got with being self-absorbed. Usually the great people do things for other people as a whole. We're not doing that anymore. We're pushing a horrible agenda of feminine men, masculine women, and nobody wants to have children. And the ones that we do have, we throw to the system. Am I the only one seeing this? Can't be. Army vet chimed in. He said, CDC stats, 80% of all male deletions come from or originates from a relationship with women. Mother, daughter, wife, girlfriend, pal. Yep. Saw that earlier today as well. That's very true. And it's a shame. Sometimes we females, we put the men in our life in jeopardy. And we need to take responsibility for our bad choices, foolish decisions, when we know what's right or wrong. But then we blame everybody else when something goes wrong. Come on now, y'all got to start taking accountability for your shit. When I build with men, men will point out off top, I was wrong in this, they'll start with that. They'll lead with that. But women, no. It's usually somebody did something I didn't know, or I was young, whatever the case may be. All types of excuses. Men stand on their square. The majority, I have to say. Got to respect that to some degree. Y'all can disagree with me if you want. Come on up. I'm here. Yep. I talk about vetting properly, especially when you have children. The daycare, y'all. The MAPS people. It's always been around. We've always needed people to care for our children and have to, trust the care and the well-being of our children to somebody else. Sometimes it's a stranger, family members, and everybody is not meant to be trusted. It's been happening for years. But I came across a recent case of 70-year-old man at this time, and his wife ran a daycare for 30 years. So you can imagine how many children were affected by this man. But he was actually in court for raping 2 sisters from one family, 4 and 6. So, it's just the court. Just want to shed a little light on it. You guys really need to be considerate when you're having children and the sacrifices that you're going to have to make to continue to work full time and hand your children over to someone else. Even family. Do background checks. Interview everyone in there. Just to go in and see it looks nice or whatever the case may be. You just have to do what you got to do. Putting our children in harm's way in this manner, it's not okay. The life that they're going to have to live with that type of trauma, some of y'all know. We need to put a stop to this, and it takes us wanting to be with our children. There was times when we both had to work at the night, had to work in the day because I'm not handing our children over. I know people have happened to them in the church, in the home, family members. So to hand them off to strangers, I'm ready. Y'all ready? Tell me what y'all think. That's right. What she said, you see it, you smell it, you know it. Do something. Do something. You do not know the effect that you are going to have on these little people. It will have an effect. This is where I come in and say they need to be castration. Graping should be a sentence of getting castrated. It got to go. You abused it. You traumatized people for the rest of their life. It needs to go. Right? Who fought against the death penalty? A lot of us women, right? So we can fight for castration for grapers. How about that? Shame. It's horrible. 25 years. 25 years of little lives. This nasty white man. Thanks, Judge. I just have to shine a light. So for the young folk coming up, be mindful of this. I think we just have the thought of manifesting a child and not realizing what's going to come along and the responsibilities behind having said child. You may not be able to be home with your child. You might have to work and hand your child over to someone else. Guys have to do the proper vetting. There's a sex registry that you can check. throughout the community. You can do the dollar background check on the people who are working in there. You can pop up at any time you want. Surprise. Check in. Call in late for work, stay an extra hour to see what's going on, come in early. You got to be more involved. 8 hours in somebody else's care is a lot. That's a lot. I always thought them just going to school was a lot of time in other people's environments. Like that's 7 hours with a lot of influence. That's a lot of hours of the day. So imagine them going to before care, going to school, after care, not getting home to 6, 7 o'clock. How much time do you really have with your children? Do you really know them? 2.5, 3 hours a day spending with your kids? I don't know. Y'all can disagree. I don't mind. But this is the honor in being a parent, being a mother. My body, my choice. I brought that child in here. Do you think you were the same? If you have multiple children, do you think you are and were the same parent for each one of your children? Do you think that's possible? To be the same parent for each child that you have? A lot of people say, all my kids are the same. I love them all the same. Everything's the same. I treat them the same. Nobody's favored. Nobody's this and that. Cap.
C-A-P. Cap. Cap. C-A-P. Cap.
And I used to try to bring up little pointers on why and, dig a little deeper. They would be like, I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, because we think so. Tunnel vision, many of us. But they are all different. And I think you're probably a different parent with each child. They've been having those commercials come on. With the first child, you did this. With the second child, you did that. With the third child, you did this. You just threw the third child off to anybody. So I'm just saying, y'all let me know. Sis say, yup. But I got a video. I want you to pay attention. You have to pay attention and pay attention to the details and observe your children. Now, it's hard to do that when you're only spending 3 hours with them in the day. So let's be mindful. See if I can pull up my video. That's an interesting conversation to have, with people when you have multiple children. It's good to build on these things. We learn strategies and, different things to help one another because we all need help with raising these kids. It's not easy. So if I can help anyone, it's always a blessing. It's what it's here for. Ready? Yeah.
Could you have, let's say, people who are raised by the same parents in the same way?
Mm-hmm.
One becomes a narcissist and one doesn't.
Because no two kids are raised in the same family. No two children have the same parents. Do you have siblings?
Yes, older and younger.
You weren't raised in the same family. You were never the oldest child, were you? You've never had that experience of being the oldest child. You've had the experience of the middle child, which is often very difficult, by the way, because you no longer, you neither have the respect and authority of the oldest, nor the cuteness and lovability of the youngest. You can't compete with a baby, for cuteness. Not only that, when your parents had you, and when they had your younger siblings perhaps, they might have been at a different stage in their own personal development, or in a different stage of their relationship, or a different economic position. Furthermore, you never had the experience of not having somebody older in the family than you. You never had the experience, at least until your younger sibling came along, of the insult of I was the only one, and all of a sudden I have to share my attention with this young interloper, which is what your oldest sibling had to do. So no two children. Not only that, even more importantly, temperamentally every child is different, and that means they evoke a different part of the parent. So even if the parent loves their kids equally, which is not, I'm not questioning, they will not respond to the child the same way. The child will not evoke the same responses from the parent one child or the other. So no two kids have the same parents.
So y'all think about that. I'm the baby and the only girl. I have many of the characteristics that they point out. Not on this, but if you know about the oldest child, middle child, youngest child syndrome, they have books about it. The sibling dynamic, it's quite unique because you can have a group of children grow up in one household and they are all very different. Nobody's the same. We're individuals. We're not going to think the same. We're not going to look at past events of, a big traumatic Christmas hoopla that was destroyed. We're not going to see it all the same way. It's not going to affect us emotionally all the same way. So it's definitely something to consider when you're like, I don't know why my brother or my sister acts like that because, we grew up this, we're all individuals and we all got the different things from our parents. You may not have seen it because you were living in it directly, but you got a different person. I have to admit it. It was different times in my growth for the first child, the relationship that we were having in our union, all of that, the working, like it was different for each child and they're so spread apart. I was 5 years apart. So everybody had time to be the baby, but it was still a shocker when the next one came along. And we were different people. When people say they don't, you stay the same, you change some. There's some adjusting that's happening. You may not even see it. Just building with my children the other day, they were asking things like, what cravings did I have when I was pregnant with each one of them? And for me to be able to remember and reflect on it, I would say that it made them feel good, that it's something that I can remember. And it's like, oh, that's why I like this. Or, ha, 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 ha. Who knows if all that is really true, right? But I say this to say, pay attention to your children. Because when they start getting older, they pull away. We didn't have present parents, so we were already pulled away. You know what I mean? But when you try to break that cycle, and now you have the dynamic of being able to give your children both parents in the home, you don't want to not pay attention. It's still very important because seeing now they're going to continually need guidance. Just because they are adults does not mean anything, and they're going to push back. They're not going to want it. They're not. Some may, not all, but a lot of them in this new modern world, they are pushing back. And I'm starting to find out that it's kind of an agenda that's being pushed. There's like a lot of little videos these little kids are coming across, and it's telling them to hate their parent, how to get their way and manipulate their parent, and these are things that they are really doing. So pay attention to your children, put those monitoring blocks on their electronics. You decide if they can have a phone or not. So, take your shit back. If they are not respecting your boundaries, take it back. They need to know that they don't run nothing. This is the problem. They think they can have a fit and fall out over the floor and they're going to get what they want. And we got to stop that. We're not creating healthy, de-escalating characteristics for these people. And we just give in. Suckers. Because we didn't have. I have to say that. A lot of us didn't have. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. So I'm going to give. My kids ain't never going to have you. But you're giving them too damn much. Well, they don't appreciate shit. Even you. Be mindful. Paris chimed in. We are going back to a Greco-Roman culture. They were into all this Sodom and Gomorrah crap. The same people going against Kanye is a big part of the problem. I used to hear when I was young, all the old folk used to say history just repeats itself. And I think that was a mindset that I reflected on again, another reflection saying, yeah, well, my history ain't going to repeat itself. I'm breaking them cycles. Some of them cycles I'm breaking. I'm not growing up. My children will not grow up in a fatherless home. I'm not doing this by myself. I need a man. I want a man. Trying to hear all that. History does repeat itself. Not here. The females in this house ain't popping out pregnant at 15. We're not doing that. No. So some cycles definitely need to be broken. Pay attention to your children because they're going to try to run away from you. You say, I don't want that medicine. Don't tell me nothing y'all don't know. Whatever. We got to stop coddling them. You know? Oh, man. Y'all know I love talking about the men's. I'm a little biased over here, just a little bit. Y'all showed me more greatness than, anything other. I'm just saying. Coming from a young girl who didn't have a father. Right in my life, specifically. Like, the fairy tale daddies that they say, I didn't. No. But I know the importance. Hey, Lady Navoa. Yeah, I'm noticing our men gets no consideration in this society. It's probably been for some while, but now it's just right in your face. There's no consideration. At all. I think it's a video I got. I think Charleston White, he might be in this video. Just want to give y'all a little look into an intimate, thinking tank of how men feel being absent fathers or may have experienced that in their life. I thought it was awesome to hear, and I want to share it with you. Yep.
Imagine the shame as a man.
Yeah. This man called me when I was 7 years old. I never forget it. I heard my mother cursing somebody out on the phone. But she calmed down and said, I heard her say, I'll let you talk to him. And he got on the phone. He's like, hey, this is your father. And I was ecstatic, Said, I'm going to come get you for the summer. And I talked to him. We had a short conversation. I'll never forget it. After the phone call, my mother said, I don't know if I'm going to let you go with him for the summer, but he can come down here, spend a couple of days with you, but I don't know if I'm going to let you go with this man for the summer. And he never showed up.
Can you imagine the shame?
Yeah.
As a man?
Right.
You got to feel, nigga, I got to get permission to come see my son.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the guilt a nigga got to wrestle with?
Yeah.
And I can't even go get my son.
Right.
I gotta bow to her. Even if I ain't gotta bow to her, I gotta kiss her ass. I gotta see if it's okay with her.
I don't think that was it. I think my mother was in the right, because he's a stranger to me.
I don't care who he is, he your father.
Right.
She had a baby with him.
Right.
She know him. You don't.
Right.
You got a right to know him.
Right. Right.
Good, bad, or ugly. You got a right to know him. Not to say mama's right or wrong. You got a right to know him.
So to fast forward, right? I found some of my siblings online on Facebook. I contacted my siblings. And actually, I think you was around when it happened. I think you were there. She was there. And I got this man's number. I talked to him. He denied the whole situation. Like, he said he never knew I existed. Like, I didn't remember that fucking phone call. But it
shame.
Right.
And guilt.
Right. And
shame,
I'm not mad at him.
Shame and guilt, nigga, will keep you away from God.
Yeah.
It'll keep you away from God, my nigga.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the shame that a man got to bear and lay with?
Right.
Knowing he done walked away from a child.
Right.
You know how high a nigga got to get to deal with that?
Right.
You know how low a nigga got to go?
Right.
To deal with that?
Right.
Yeah, just imagine that.
I can.
So for him to come back and say, "No, man, I didn't even know you existed." Shame,
Right.
Shame, nigga.
Right.
Shame.
He was hoping I didn't remember that conversation.
Nah, he know you remembered, but nigga, shame. Did you hear what I said? Do you know, if I gotta feel this,
right?
You don't know where this feeling to take me in life.
Right.
It's just like, homie, when you've been doing something and you've been making justifications, you've been making excuses, you've been blaming. So meaning you haven't had to accept responsibility for nothing.
Right.
When you first have to accept and say, I'm wrong, say, homie, you can't imagine how bad I felt when I
Right.
said I was wrong behind Kevin Gates.
Yeah.
Nigga, I felt like a piece of shit.
I saw it
It
in your
was
face.
horrible.
I saw it.
I had my girl cousin them around me, and I was trying to say, man, fuck that nigga.
Right.
I was trying to convince myself, man, fuck that nigga, man, you ain't, man, fuck, because nigga, this feel horrible, homie. Oh, man, I feel like a piece of shit.
Right.
Nigga, I was wrong. No, so that's just with a nigga I don't know.
Right.
Imagine if I do something to my child
Yeah.
and it causes me to have to face this, and I done been wrong with my kids, homie, and it feel horrible.
Right.
Man, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. Nah, homie, it's some shit that you don't want to feel, that you done caused on yourself, so you avoid it. You get drunk, you get high, you blame, you justify, you minimize, you make excuses, because if you have to really face what you did, it may take you somewhere so low, you may not bounce back.
Hey, that nigga said, hey, when I call him, he's like, who your mama is?
Hey, man.
I'm like, nigga, you know who my fucking mama is. Stop
Say,
playing
man.
with me, man.
Say, man, because you don't know what I done told myself, nigga,
Right.
to be able to do this.
Right.
Now here you come along, man. Before I die, I gotta face it.
Right.
I gotta feel this before I die. But right now, I don't wanna feel it, nigga. I don't know who your mama is, nigga. I don't know you. Now, nigga fucking with me. Baby, I don't know who this nigga is talking about. I mean,
Man, what y'all think? That shame weighs heavy. That shame weighs heavy. I had to personally experience this with my father. Even on his deathbed, it was hard. It was hard. And I'm sure the shame he felt was incredible. And it just showed in his everyday movements, and how his life ended and how he just didn't take care of himself. I felt a little shame myself because there was times he tried to come back and I was an upset, angry little girl, Nah, you can't come back and tell me nothing and, this and that. Not realizing that was his opportunity to, try to clean his life up, which I believe he was. And, I was not willing. I was still very hurt. Of course, I was a young teenager. And it was something unique, but I felt the shame of that, dismissing him, being rude, all of that. So looking back, that was a cycle I didn't want to create. So all of these little things that happened in my life definitely set me on a path of self-reflection while a lot of things were happening. And then to meet my husband at 20 and me reflecting on not having such a great relationship with my father. And then when he met him, I must have cared some, right? So when he met him, he was always willing to do something, housewarming. We got a little stereo system, he was just a man, really doesn't have anything again, but came through, always seemed attentive. So he was confused by my reflection of my lack thereof of this father, this living person, still here on this earth. And his logic as a man, both his parents were dead at the time that I met him. They died when he was a child. So to not have that, and it's like, even if I had the opportunity, I would take that opportunity now because he's living. Like, get whatever off your chest, at least try to build on it. And I did multiple times, heated arguments, walking away, not even arguments. He wouldn't, try to yell back at me, but I was quite disrespectful as a young woman. And I kind of feel a little shame for that. He didn't deserve that. I just really wasn't trying to understand his story, because I grew up in his family, but I didn't know the dynamics of himself. And I think I just really had a hard heart and I wasn't willing to be empathetic. So that kind of had to grow. And it's a blessing. This is why I encourage people to deal with the trauma, if that parent is alive, is something that you should try to do. And it's not going to always work out well, you know, but trying is the first step. You know, and it may be possible, and you just never know where it goes from there. But you have to also be willing to forgive. You know, using the constant hurt and pain to try to manipulate the person, it's not going to be good. So, you know, and I have to say that that dynamic of man not having anything to give because this is what they're told. My father did stay away a lot because of that. That was always something he said. And when he did come into money, a car accident or something, I was the first person he was looking for. You know, his children, he was looking for us. Like, yeah, I got some money. I just got a couple of dollars and I want to, you know, give it to y'all. So when I receive these stories and I'm like, yes, you know, he probably didn't think he was worthy at all, you know, and he was. Now looking back, he's been gone 2 years now. So rest in peace, Pop Sweets, Pop Too Sweet. And I'm glad I found peace with that because who knows where, you know, my relationship with my husband would be, you know, even though I wasn't one of the women who tried to beat him up, you know, he wasn't in fault of my father's flaws. But I still needed to deal with that because I'm sure it was an emotion, some type, you know, it would surface throughout time. And of course I would have to go and deal with it. And it's been great. It's been great. I've dealt with it. I've buried him, cremated him. He's sitting right here on my chest. So, you know, I wish you gentlemen the best. And, you know, if you are one of those fathers, you know, send cards in the mail, you know. It's no joke. I appreciate y'all listening to my personal business. But we're going to move on. Oh, wait, I got some comments up here. I'm sorry. Thank you, Paris. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I've had to learn to hold my emotions together. You know, emotional control it's hard. It's not easy. You know, any other time I probably would have been up here boohoo crying talking about it. So, and nothing wrong with that. It's very good, but I felt it, but I contained it, and I'm proud of myself. I just have to point that out. I'm just saying. Oh, Mr. He said, shame is something you're going to get to one way or another. You know, a necessary emotion that leads to changed behavior. I'm all for shame. Absolutely. Yes. Yep. And you got to feel it, right? It's a self-reflection. I have to feel that to know I shouldn't be doing something. Oh, man. Been there, done it too. I mean, you know, I don't mind being transparent. It's important. It's not a fluke. I got another message. So now I want the married folk, because we are marriage is ugly. Y'all know that?
Hello, motherfucker.
Said that marriage is ugly. Y'all are delusional. I got something I want to read to y'all. You ready? I'm gonna have to take my glasses up. Marriage is not beautiful. Okay? Marriage is ugly. You see the absolute worst in someone. You see them when they're mad, sad, being stubborn, when they're so unlovable, they make you scream. But you also get to see them when they are laughing so hard that tears run down their face and they can't help but to let out those weird gargling noises. You see them at 3 a.m. when the world is asleep except you two, and you're eating in the middle of the kitchen floor. You get to see the side of them that no one else does, and it's not always pretty. It's snorting while laughing. It's the tears when it feels like it's all crashing down. It's the farting. It's the bedhead and the bad breath. It's the random dances. It's the angry and the joy. Marriage isn't a beautiful thing, but it is amazing. It's knowing that someone loves you so much and won't leave you even though you said something nasty. It's having someone have your back no matter what. It's fights over stupid things like someone not doing the dishes or picking up after themselves. And it's those nights you fall asleep in each other's arms, feeling like there will never be enough time with them. It's cleaning up their throw up or just rubbing their back when they're sick. It's the dirtiest, hardest, most rewarding job there is. Because at the end of the day, you get to crawl into bed with your best friend, the weirdest, most annoying, loving, goofy, perfect person that you know. Marriage is not beautiful, but it's one heaven of a ride. It's a roller coaster I ain't trying to get off. I just want to share that with y'all. I thought it was interesting because people have a warped idea of what marriage is, and it's not always fun. It's not always financially successful. It's not always upward growth. But it is about how you guys work through that together. And some things you may have to work through separately, respectfully. But I got a video that's going to, it's just a little message, a need to hear for relationships. Love and the feeling of being in love. Feelings are temporary. We know emotions change. My emotion can be different from the morning till at 12:30. But it's important for us to know the difference. Bam. Let's do it.
Is it possible to fall in and out of love with someone?
Yeah, I think that's normal. I think that you never stop loving somebody, but I think the in love butterflies feeling that, comes from being with somebody, I think that fades and it goes in and out. I think you actually got to do things to reignite that, like whenever the relationship is getting dull, because you got to understand this shit really is a marathon. And it's like, if you think about a marathon and you running laps, you always start, you got all this energy. Then you go through that middle when it's like you're not as energetic, but then you get to that final stretch and then you find that just energy that propel you forward. That's kind of like the stretch of a relationship. It's like every day is not going to be fucking peaches and cream and fairy tales and movie dates and, spontaneous this, and it's not, because after a while you start to see somebody's good, they bad, they ugly. You're seeing them in every phase of their life. So it's no way, unless I can't see, you're supposed to love somebody through every phase of their life, but that in love feeling, I just feel like once there's too much chaos, because communication becomes confusion, right? When you have to communicate with somebody with every channel of your life, the problems then overweigh the fun shit, right? So it's like, unless you have a great balance and you just find ways to alleviate problems without going through that, which is not realistic, you're going to be falling in and out of love with somebody, because it's not that you're not in love with them, you're not in love with the circumstances. So when the circumstances change and they improve, then the in love part can come back. But what tends to happen is a lot of people tend to romanticize people that they're not with while being in a relationship, because they feel like, oh, it could be better, but it's not realistic. You seeing a trailer of who this person present themselves as while you were living in a movie that you're actually in. So yeah, this movie might not be a perfect movie, but you actually know what you're dealing with. For instance, you looking at a trailer and then you get with that movie and realize it was actually worse than the fucking movie you was in. So stay down with your partner, unless you just flat out depressed, because you're going to fall in and out of love with somebody, but you should just focus on making sure you always love them, not being in love, that jittery butterfly. It's not realistic. So, if you want that shit to last, then you gotta be real with yourself, and that comes with knowing that in love comes in seasons, but you should always love somebody that you with.
What they say, love the person you with. I thought that was an awesome reflection. It's important to fall in love over and over again, because it is a feeling. And when the honeymoon phase is over and the kids start popping in, it can fade. You still love the person, but those butterfly feelings and all of that magical fantasy, yeah, it might die away. But again, your consciousness of wanting to keep this union together should be upfront. The intimacy, the nurturing, like the consideration consistently is important. And it doesn't just take one person. It's not always on the man to plan the date and do, once you guys get married, all them expectations, throw that shit out the window. Men like to be surprised too. Men like to be taken on dates as well. They like roses, petals led to the bed with flowers, so they can get a hoopla and, whipped cream and all. Like, they like all that too. And if you're doing that, kudos to you. So, not many women do these kind of things. I'm just saying it's important to make them feel special. I'm telling you, the rewards from this consistent making them feel special? Because it is a feeling. And how do you do that? You show it in ways that they want. So don't think they don't want those things to come home and, a bath ran for them and, with the little herbs in there and stuff. Yeah, some of them may want it. You better find out. It's important. It's like finding different recipes for intimacy. Think about it like that. All right, write a book about it. There's so many books out there about intimacy, even just, sparking that. If it's because sometimes you get docile in the house and everybody's on click mode. So it's nothing to initiate with a book, right? Get this nice little sex book. We can ask questions or whatever the case may be, to spark the intimacy back. But if nobody does anything, nothing changes. And for one person to sit back and expect the other one to do it and then blame them for not doing it, y'all are insane. I'm just so confused on what y'all are doing here. The girlfriend experience, the boyfriend experience is something that you should maintain throughout a marriage. It's going to be hard, yes, because everybody got to work. The kids are annoying. The house is messy. Who's doing the dishes? Please. When all of them mother freakers is gone, it's still supposed to be y'all. You know what I wanted to say. Because at some point, everybody got to go. I'm like Clan Bill. Let's leave the kids the house. It's important. My baby had to take cantankerous grandma and women over there, but she told me, don't forget about him. I will never forget that in the kitchen. I was about to have our first daughter. And she said, when that baby come, don't forget about him. And I'm telling you, it laid a foundation in my mind to consciously be aware of that, be aware of my movements. I know how much attention I want to give my children because I adore my children. I love being a mother. So I would smother the shit out of them with attention and then pull back from him. So there were times I'm like, oh, snap into it. Boop. Remember what grandma said? Don't forget about him. I don't want him to go nowhere. I did not want my children to feel what I felt as a fatherless child. There's no way. I'm going to make sure, hey, you good? And put a little love note under your pillow. It's important. We can't expect them to do it all. I'm here to show you, y'all got to be a little assertive. You ain't got to be aggressive, but you can damn sure enough be assertive in your intimacy with your mate. And it's rewarding. Get to teach them some things if they don't know. You got to learn each other. And that's going to take some time because you change. You're going to want something different at 28 than you wanted at 22. And you're going to want something different at 38 than you wanted at 28. I'm just saying, it definitely changes. Your body changes, your hormone changes, your libido changes, be aware. We're so consumed with the idiot boxes and the technology. We have no room for self-reflection. There's no room. Full of being pre-offended and want to judge everything and everybody. I'm so confused. But here we are. So, take some of this knowledge for marriage and long-term relationships. Take what you need. And I hope it helps. I hope it makes your union stronger. You see more smiles in the house. It's rewarding, let's just say. But this has been great. I had a little bit of shame. Need to start some petitions, sis. I'm going to get with you and see, if you have any information about that or if anybody has any information because we need to protect the sanctity of our men. Damn. Because what I'm seeing on TV is shameful. It's a bit much. Now, they need to make a whole new stream for the LGBT community and have all their network stuff on there, but to keep it, intertwined with ours and we have absolutely no, safe heterosexual TV for our children to watch is kind of shameful. It exists, but we don't have to put that right up front in our children's world. I'm sorry. I've been seeing too much. You're having a trickle effect. You have one child come out of transgender, you got a whole school of children. It's like 74 kids who are the same. Is this mob mentality? This can't be it's no way not biological. They're putting something in the food? Or is it just being easily influenced? We just have a dumbass society. Doesn't want to live in reality. I'm feeling a little disrespected. They want to take the definition of what a woman is away. what a female is away and just keep adding all these little terms. And come on, and we're allowing it. Women, ladies, you know, we've been so proud in supporting the LGBTQIA community that they lack supporting us. They want us to come over to the dark side. It was a time when we used to be like, oh, well, people are gay. That doesn't mean they want you. But now it's like I'm being shamed because I'm heterosexual and I push heterosexuality. Like something's wrong with me. Like I'm homophobic because I push and I'm proud heterosexual. Shame on y'all. I love everybody. Be who the hell you want to be, but I'll be damned we're going to shame me for being a fucking woman and a heterosexual female and want to take the dynamic and change the meaning and do all of this. It's crazy. And it's not just here in America, man. I've been watching a lot of videos in the UK and everywhere else. It's becoming a thing. And they really believe it. They really want everybody to acquiesce with these new terms and shit. No, we're not going to do that. Because I think it's unfair. Because we have all these men coming up and they think they are dating women and they're not. And then it's like, oh, well, you're homophobic because y'all don't even make sense. You present yourself as a female. That's what I think, unless you say something otherwise. So, gentlemen, I would advise you to ask if you are a naturally born female. It's types of questions that you have to ask on a date now. And if they get offended, then that's a goddamn problem because you shouldn't be offended because we have to ask these things now. It doesn't mean anybody's a phobic anything. I should know the truth. Scientifically, biologically, what are you? That is not okay. Us putting on makeup and, you know, putting out this representative is totally different from somebody saying they are biologically not something and then be mad because I'm not for that. Like, wait a minute. Because what I'm seeing is a lot of the trans women are, you know, choosing to be a woman of slut type standard. And I'm not going to say all, but what I see on social media, this is what they pushing about y'all. So these type of trans women you don't agree with, y'all need to start shaming them. Because they're choosing to be whorish, sluttish, graping men. It's going down. Yeah. But I'm starting to feel a little disrespected. Where a lot of these gay men are telling women that they ain't shit. That they're better than us. Like, no, stay in your lane. Sounds like you're mad that you can't be us. And we're fools because we're following their shit. A lot of you ladies are really looking like gay men. This is what the men are seeing. Maybe not in your city, but come to my city. I will take you around and show you. It's a goddamn shame. But we so proud and we know who we are. It's bullshit. I'm not really believing that. Cap. Just say what you want. I don't have nothing against them. I love them. I have some in my family. I love them to death. But now we want to change definitions and shit. And if I have my own, you need to let people know that you were born a female, but you would like to identify as a male. Doesn't make you a man. You can never know how a man feels. I'm confused. You can have your own dynamic of growth and, you know, in your transitional period. But to say you're taking on a whole nother gender and you know what that feels like, nah, I was a tomboy all my life. There's no way in hell I know what it feels like to be a man. I can have an idea of it. Oh, I can absolutely have an idea of it. But knowing it, feeling it, living it, growing in it every day, absolutely not. So I'm for this fight. People have the right to be and identify as whatever the hell you want, but don't try to take the definition of what a woman is or what a naturally born man is, and we want to change it into, oh no, because, you know, if I try and I cut all this off and no, because when they dig you up, they're going to know that you were born that initially, scientifically. And it's unfair. Because even if the young women do it young and they meet a heterosexual man and he wants to have children and a family and he doesn't know this and he's already married, and then you tell him, because some of them are really good, like bodies transition very well, voices transition, you would not know. So it's getting scary out there, gentlemen. And I don't know what a vagina feels like, so, you know, inside. So that's only on you to know what it feels like for real versus one that's fake, right? I mean, well, that's been, medically transitioned to that. I have no idea. But be safe out here. Ask them questions. You shouldn't feel offended. It has nothing to do with being a phobic or anything. I need to protect myself. I need to know what I'm getting into because psychologically something's going on there. And I'm going to have to deal with that because I'm sure that transition has had some childhood trauma, has some this and that, But we just want to identify and be accepted without no background. I'm not feeling that. If you want to, fine. Yeah, but you should definitely let people know who you are. It's unfair. Because what I'm seeing is a lot of these trans women in the, influential world, the strippers and, the high class ones, I guess. They are actually coming out and making books and exposing people. So you're doing this. Like we going out here acting a fool and you want to be a woman. That's not how women behave. We're not going to put you in a category of us and say that this is how we behave. You learned that from us. Nah. Nah. Y'all can agree, but it's getting out of control. Truly. Hey, Sir Hale. Welcome back. Red lipsticks. What'd you say, girl? Yes, ask the right questions. Please. Please. Don't be offended. And if they offended, that's a problem. What Lady Navoa said. Oh, she said that to Red. You too. Whew. Good message. It's Sunday. It's Sunday. Some shit need to be shamed. I'm a little offended, sis. I'm a pineapple. Yep. I identify as fully black. The white side of me is going to hate me for that. I'm white phobic. Don't even make no sense. But it is something to be born a girl, a naturally born female, to grow up as a young girl, to, begin to learn my sense of identity as a female, 8, 9, 10, coming into my body and hormones, like that was a transition. So for a young boy to transition to a young girl, it is not the transition. It's not the same thing. You're never going to understand what it felt like. You can have your own transition of what you're going through, write a book on that, and y'all can all compare, the dynamics of such, but you can never say that you're transitioning a girl. No, a trans girl. Let's keep y'all's definitions and y'all terms separate. Keep that trans on there. And I think that's what it is. They want to be identified fully as a woman or a female, but it's unfair because it's not true to everybody's reality. I get it. But when you're doing it out of, manipulation and people don't know who you want to be in a union with or intimately, that's not cool. It's kind of a form of rape. Straight up manipulation. False representation of who you are. And then the person on the opposite end who rejects it is shamed. That's the part that I'm not feeling. I reject that. Yeah, okay, you told me it's not something I'm willing to do or, change my mind about. We could possibly be friends, but I don't want to take this any further. It's a problem. Let's put the shame where the shit need to be. Doing too much. Right. Don't care how much hormones you take. What you say, sis? Your blood still say male or female. That's it. That's all. I mean, and that's true, because until even after, you're still going to have to go to OBGYN because that's the person who did the surgery. So, it's unique, but they're doing it en masse. And they're grooming the children in school by talk, by other children's influence, by other children having their phones, because these young people are going to school 8, 9, these kids have phones and shit. Again, pay attention to your kids. When they start to pull away, notice. But we don't spend that much time with them anyway, so how are you going to know? I'm praying for us all. what do you say? When the archaeologists dig up them bones a million years later, what they gonna find? Yeah, they can tell by the bones. I don't think hormone is gonna change the dynamic of the bone structure. It's unique, and I've also been seeing, the ones who may have went through transition and regret it a lot. So that's something that needs to be considered as well. You go through changes. Most people go through dysphoria. It doesn't mean necessarily that you don't want to be in the particular body that you were born into. Why does it have to be that? How about I just hate my stomach and I hate my breasts and I just don't feel comfortable in this body? Why does it have to be you have to be the other gender? Why is that the go-to when it's something here psychologically going on? Grew up with boys all my life. I tell y'all that masculine tomboy, but I'm girl, feminine as hell. I just grew up in a particular environment that caused more characteristics of, moving more in a male type manner to be more exposed and come out at times. But I never felt as though, I wanted to be a whole nother gender. That's why the term tomboy was made up, because we are capable of doing some things. I don't mind getting up under the car and jacking it up and, cleaning out the gutters and mowing the lawn. I don't mind doing all that stuff. If it got to get done, we're going to do it. So if you want to call that masculine traits, whatever. How about something shit just got to get done and I'm capable. Right. It should get done by a man. And that's how I was. The chores where we had a corner house growing up and the chores were designated. I had a little bit more duty in the house than I did outside. I was never designated as a chore for me to do the outside stuff with the guys, but I still did it. And I would get mad if they didn't let me. You know what I mean? But this world now, please, these kids, they don't want to do shit. We don't have no hedges or nothing to cut, thank God. But I'm just saying, just had to point that out. Yeah, let's just say it don't change. 6-part, leave these babies alone. Lady Nouveau, what you got a question? We say. All right. Do you think we should separate our kids from the transgender because when they wanted to do the kids show for them? I mean, vetting your school, vetting what's going on. It's on you as a parent to decide that and how you want to, age appropriately, talk to your children about the differences in the world and, people. Now, pushing the agenda, absolutely not. I encourage people to homeschool if possible. We've just been blessed to be able to do this later on in our years. Wasn't something we was able to do early on. But this wasn't a thing then. Now it seems as though, children can't have no say in, choosing a sexual partner, but they can have a say in the identity of their gender. So it just seems a little stupid. I'm confused by all of that, So vet the school. And if it seems like it's too much for you, I would take my child out. I would absolutely take my child out because I watched one and they were like, what's his name? Anyway, but I was watching something and I'll pull it up. And it's a whole school. And it's a large percentage of children coming out as transgender. Like, what's going on here? Yeah. So we're going to play a video.
Speaking as a parent and as an educator. As an educator, I have seen throughout our school system how our students are struggling to read. They're struggling to do math. Our students come to school for college and career readiness. Kids do not come to school, and back up, parents do not send their kids to school to explore their sexuality. That is not why people send their children to school. And also, we as a society have to love and be kind to everybody. Absolutely. All of us, even Many of us who stand in agreement on this issue of parents' rights disagree on certain issues. But it is a false narrative. Not want their children exposed to graphic sex acts somehow hate somebody. That is nonsense. And when I look at what our kids are exposed to in the media, the last thing they need to do at school is learn how to sexually pleasure themselves.
The last thing. I agree with the sister. She was at a town hall meeting discussing this as a parent. And we should all feel this way. You know, but you have to know what's going on in your children's school. If you just sending them off and not, you know, visiting, checking the book section in their class, visiting the library with the class, seeing who's around. And I've been in the school a lot. Gay teachers, awesome teachers, flamboyant, some not, some conservative, but never seen anything like this that's going on now. Physically, I haven't been there maybe 2 years. So I don't know what's on the shelves, but we visited Florida and visited the library, and it was a lot of books right on the front. A lot of books about transitioning, about the LGBTQIA community. And it's good for knowledge, but I think that is the choice of the parent and the family to discuss in a time appropriate, age appropriate manner, but to just expose our children because they think it's okay. And if we don't like it, it's because we hate. That's horrible. We should not be teaching that. Our children are exposed to enough. Let's bring them back.
Somehow hate somebody. That is nonsense. And when I look at what our kids are exposed to in the media, the last thing they need to do at school is learn how to sexually pleasure themselves. Also, I haven't heard the comment made recently, but many of the speakers here disparage the parents here as though they're being held captive by some right-wing agenda. Like the parents in this room are too stupid, too ignorant to come to their own conclusions, like they don't have their own set of morality to not want their kids exposed to this content. I'm speaking as a parent. We, the parents of America, are tired of the schools turning into social and political machines instead of institutions of higher learning. As we are watching the students of America slip behind on a global scale to compete academically, this is not the time for more sexualization. And also, parents have a right to determine what their kids are exposed to. I think it is absolutely unacceptable for people in education to think that they know what's best for somebody else's child. God gave me my child, not the school district, and I guarantee you that every parent agrees. And every parent has a right to object to the things their kids are being exposed to. But there is a breaking point. And the breaking point is this: the fundamental existence of school is not to learn about sexual pleasure, not to learn about new sex acts. The fundamental purpose of school is to prepare our kids to be successful adults who can go off and have careers. And it is up to every parent to then teach their kids morality. It is out of the place for the school to do it, and I reject any notion that parents here are filled with hate or bigotry. The parents don't want their kids sexualized. If other people want to sexualize their kids, that's their business, not our.
Man, hate and bigotry. Never been filled with any of that. Not being raised in New York, coming up in the 70s, you got to see everything. Everything. Just because we want to control our children's moral compass does not mean we hate. It's not okay. And for schools to think it's okay, shame. Shame on them. Why they need to learn this so young? They don't even get real sex education till middle school, maybe 7th, 8th grade. And you have to sign permission for that. And that's just learning about the reproductive system. Make this shit make sense. So yeah, parents need to take more control over what's going on in the school because, our taxes pay for how the school is ran. No Child Left Behind is more so for parents, full inclusion, more inclusion. I don't think many of y'all are aware of that. And the only way to make change is for us to be more involved. And I have to say here in Baltimore, there's PTAs are small. The schools that my children attended, small. Talking about hundreds of students and, 20s to maybe 30 parents in a full auditorium, a large auditorium. Shameful. And they're not that smart here. Math, we are failing in this country. Math, English, literature, science, it's not looking good, but we pushing this agenda of sex. Yes, come on. Teach the children how to manipulate their bodies. They should be okay with that. That's for the parents to talk with their children about the changes they're going to go through with their bodies. Mothers, it's up to you to talk to your daughters about what they're going to feel when they wipe their vagina sitting on the toilet. You got to be open with your children, transparent with your children. Because when this shit start to happen and they taking control of the influence of your children in school, you will have no more control. And it was an agenda. It's been going on. Been in the school system over 20 years, and not just my children. We say, Mr. He said, parents have to be more aware and intelligent. Think logically. Fuck they feelings sometimes. I'm sorry. We love our children. We adore them. They're the best little people on the damn planet. But sometimes, fuck your feelings. It's not about your feelings. But if dad is simple and mom wants to be happy all the time, who monitors the children? That is true. That's a good question. Dad can't say shit without mom jumping in. I've seen that dynamic a lot. Sit still and shut the fuck up. Let him be a father. I'm confused, unless he's abusive but we tend to shush the men who are supposed to be there and set a certain particular moral compass and tone. Because even if we do make the rules, they are the enforcers. If these kids don't stay in line to help us, because we're going to move with emotion. We're going to get emotional with our kids and start crying and carrying on, some of us. But the logic, we need it. It's important. Welcome. The intellectual soapbox is in the building. Mr. Best, I appreciate you. Knowledge and Relationships is in the building. Yeah, man, a little bit of shame Sunday. The schools is taking over. Better make sure you know what's going on in there with these babies, because they got an agenda and they pushing. They pushing it hard. So if they are under 13, I take their damn phones. They wouldn't have a phone. That's just me personally. Everything would be monitored. You have a certain amount of time on the computer or a tablet or whatever. But to just have it, no. They doing way more than you think. And if they have it, it's your right to take it. Every Friday, go through that shit. Look at it. Do it on surprise and they don't know. They're going to look shocked. They might even combat you. But they don't pay that bill. They pay that bill? Remember who's in charge. That's the problem. Please remember who's in charge. These children been running shit. They want to tell you who they are when they 3. I love it. It's going to be confusion. Absolutely. But please continue to push reality of the world and dive a little deeper into the emotions that they're feeling and be transparent. Right. What else? What we got here? Yeah, we've been here for a little bit. Got a little bit more. I think we might be done. Oh, my man, Jim Carrey. Can we do that one? Yeah, that was the guy talking about the feelings. being in love. Just a few years back, my man Jim Carrey, that white people do things a little differently. He spoke about this. He really didn't speak. He just kind of did a symbol. But you know what he was talking about. So I just wanted to show the difference between, Kanye and Jim Carrey. It was quite unique. But I remember it when he was on.
Jim Carrey was trying to expose the secrets of the government and the Illuminati, but we weren't listening to him? You need to see this. So Jim Carrey went on the Jimmy Kimmel Live show several years ago to promote a movie, and during his entrance, he just kept flashing the symbol of the Illuminati to everyone. He didn't even let Jimmy ask one question about his movie. He spent his whole time trying to wake people up and just expose and talk about the government. The producers had no idea he was gonna do this.
Have you, like you don't know what it is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on.
The producers had no clue he was gonna do that, and it sounded like people were laughing during the interview, but everyone who went to the live taping exposed that no one was laughing. It was completely silent, and they just edited laugh tracks over it, which makes it so much creepier. People are worried for his health and safety now after putting himself on the line like this, and the weird fact that he's had less jobs recently, and now he's suddenly choosing to retire.
Well, I'm retiring, and this is something you might never hear another celebrity say. I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough.
I'm gonna show you one last crazy clip of what he said, but before I do, make sure you follow so you find to know the craziest conspiracy theories about each of these celebrities and requests you want to see next.
You know what they're trying to do? They're trying to turn us into, consumer drones of some sort. Hold on, I just got to get this. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I was temporarily interrupted by my iPhone 6 Plus.
Yeah, that was a while back. We up to I-414, right? iPhone. Shout out to Jim Carrey. Shout out to my man Jim Carrey. One of the great whites from In Living Color. Yeah, man, take that from me, please. Yeah, y'all saw that? He did it a whole different way. The Illuminist ones. It's real out here. It's real out here. They said it was quiet. It was fake laughs. Yeah, it wasn't funny because it was the truth. And I saw that. I think he's a great actor. And he is retiring. Man. And I noticed after that interview, most of the movies he did were kind of dark and creepy. And I remember seeing him on an interview speaking about, a depression from doing the bio movie of the comedian. What's his name? From Taxi? Was he from Taxi? But he did and it was hard because he had a hard life. And he kind of took on, a lot of that persona. Some of these characters they get into, they have to take on a lot and you don't realize it. But shout out to Jim Carrey for exposing. This will make it make sense, maybe just a little bit.
History of America is the history of rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. It starts in the colonies of what would become the United States. Let's remember, during the colonial period, mid-1600s, there was no such thing as white people. I know some people who are now called white find that shocking, right? Because they think whiteness is real, right? But whiteness was created. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? The history of Europe was about killing each other. That's what we did in Europe. We just killed each other. Before we figured out there were other people to kill, we just killed each other, right? I mean, that was the history of Europe. The English hated the Irish, right? Northern Italians didn't even think that Southern Italians were Italians. The Germans hated everybody, and everybody hated their ass right back, right? There was no team called white, no race called white, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the 1600s, there was. Why? Why was it suddenly necessary to create this thing called the white race? Well, because rich people can count, that's why. And so rich folks looked around, the ones that owned all the land, you know, in the colonies, the colonial elite looked around and they realized something, that they were heavily outnumbered by African enslaved folks, by European indentured servants who were just one level above a slave, or other Europeans who weren't technically indentured servants, but they were still peasants, didn't have any money, didn't have any land, and they could do the math. They added it up and they were like, damn, we got to figure out a way to split these folks apart from one another or they're going to rise up and take our stuff, right? Because after a while, these black folks who were enslaved Africans and these quote-unquote white folks who were poor Europeans are going to figure out they're all getting played by these rich people, right? So ultimately, the rich figure out they got to come up with some way to get somebody in that group on their team. The easiest thing is to get the poor Europeans, right? Because at least they look like you. They sort of share some of the customs and the culture. So they all of a sudden create this thing called whiteness, and they say, now you're part of the club. Now we're going to let you testify in court, enter into contracts, vote, at least if you're a man, own a little bit of land, at least if you're a man, right? And we're going to get rid of indentured servitude, no more of that, because you're too good for that. And we're going to take the white men, now called white men, and put them on the slave patrol to keep black people in line. Give them a horse and a gun and a badge and make them feel big and powerful, right? They're still poor. They still don't have anything. They didn't pay the slave patrol well, right? Just exploited them, used them as a buffer between the elite and the other poor folks, particularly poor folks of color. And pretty soon the rebellions that occasionally happened where black and white got together to overthrow the elite, those stopped because the divide and conquer had begun to work, right? You could turn people against each other by telling those poor white folks they got to keep these black people in line. And so that divide and conquer gets initiated in the colonies. Rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown.
Yeah, that part. Divide and conquer. Yeah, we were predominant in the world. It's a whole timeline of history, you know. Take a peek, have a look, do a little investigating. They weren't always called white. We black. Like, it's amazing the tunnel of intelligence that we have to not see the bigger picture. It's been an agenda. We falling right into it. Y'all don't even realize we are nothing but consumers. Consumers. So you wonder why the LGBTQIA community is getting so much shine, because they contribute a lot to the community. Right? This is why they, you know, first started off with us, marketing everything to us, because we contribute a lot to society with spending money and consuming.
Hello, motherfucker.
And not just for us. When we have our children, we buy a lot of unnecessary shit. Unnecessary. Small amount of men do. Men are a little bit more logical. For many times, we don't need all of that. We need this. We don't need all that. It's not a need. And it's amazing. We're in third grade. I'm teaching third grade, and all the way through, you know, first, second, and third, you're teaching wants and needs. Like, this is something that needs to be stressed. It's stressed all the way through elementary school. And then we become adults and we do not follow that dynamic. The basic wants and needs. We overindulge everything. We overcompensate everything. We smudge our whole existence to pretend to be somebody. And we spend money to do it. Want some more sense? Got a little more, just a little more before we start making this beef stew.
Death, but I've watched my parents fall into like the American dream trap, which is this idea of like getting bigger houses, getting more cars, where you make a little bit more money, you spend a little bit more money, you get a raise, you get a new bill. Everything you're doing is pushing the boundaries of what it means to be happy. If I go to my I don't know if I call it my white or my American side of my family, when I go over here and I visit these people, they have massive, beautiful houses. They've got 2 or 3 cars in the front. Both of my parents started collecting Social Security early, despite the fact that he has a full Air Force pension, and he still works full time at, I think, 62 years old
Okay.
to be able to afford their lifestyle. They're going to work until they die. They're always juggling bills. They're always stressed about this and that. They have their stuff. They're not very happy.
How many people live like that? Even the rich and famous. You have a lot of stuff and you're still not happy. I have to say, most of us, happiness, you allow somebody to hold happiness in their hand, they close their hand, you're done. You're done. There's no more happiness. Everybody want to live that dream, right? That big house, multiple cars. It costs a lot to get there. And when you get there, you got to keep it up. And it costs a lot to get there. And you got to work harder. The more money you have, the more money you spend. The more money you got, the more problems you got. Not saying poor ain't, it's fun and shit. But let's be realistic. Money, 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 money. Y'all send me some. I'm just kidding. But we are here. We in a society. The rich keep getting richer and the poor keeps getting poorer. Didn't grow up in families where we went to a rich family's house. No. With someone who lived a little different. We had that. Family members who were a little less in poverty, or kept their home just uptight, kept their home up a little better. But financial wealth, no. Definitely another cycle we are definitely trying to break. It's important. But to overindulge in, we got to pay for everything. You have to pay for your education first. Then you got to pay for your house, your car. They still don't belong to you because you got to pay for insurance, phones, food is expensive as hell, school, kids, wedding, please, savings. You got to pay for your heat, your water, electricity, your Wi-Fi. It's a lot. All that stuff costs. And most of those things are necessity. Oh, no clothes. You better go to the thrift store. We appreciate you popping in, Lady Navoa. Said, I got to go. This is good. I'll see you and the mister on Super Sunday. Yep, with Sir Hell. And get ready for the house before hubby get off. So, story time. Cook. Try and listen while I'm out. But just in case, yes. I definitely love when I'm cooking. I pop in on some of the podcasts. Y'all definitely keep me going in the kitchen. I be cracking up. That's right. You got to curate that home. It's awesome. It feels good. I'm proud of it. And somebody walking in the house like, ooh, your house is clean. Yeah. Even if it wasn't for him, it's for me. It smells nice too. You got to. You have to. When it starts to feel out of whack, let that be your motivation. Get up and do something. It ain't going to clean itself. It ain't going to cook itself. And, you definitely ain't expecting him to do it, right? But some will. That's the thing. Open up your mouth. Sit down and make a chart. Agree upon things. Communicate. Don't just expect anything. But this was great. I hope y'all reflect on, some of the things I tried to build on. It's always awesome coming in here and, sharing my reflection. But it's been a lot of shameful stuff. And we got to make some changes. And I know it's going to take some time, but it might get worse before it gets better. But pay attention to what you're seeing. Debate it, argue it, sign a petition. If you see something up with a link for me, pull up, sign it, pass it on to all the women that you believe would sign it because it's important. Can't keep trying to change the definition of what a woman is. Make your own definition and stay in y'all's lane and be transparent. There's no hate and bigotry over here. Anybody who knows me and grew up with me, it's not in Nikki's essence. I'm just saying, love and abundance is always here. And medicine ain't always going to taste good. And I don't mind pouring it. So if you want to Pull up on me anytime. Sunday, I'll be here. And I'll have something for you. And we can discuss. And anytime, anybody's welcome to come up and chit chat with me. But I don't mind being on the platform by myself. You gotta be happy in yourself first. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great Sunday, and strive to be better. Be kind to someone that's not you. Smile a little bit. Look in the mirror and smile. Just check it out. Sometimes it's awkward, but do it. Love yourself before you can love anybody else. All right. He said, she said, Love and Abundance will be here Thursday. So y'all pull up on us. Mr. He said is always here on Saturday, bringing that barbershop pod. Y'all pull up on him. Great cerebral knowledge. I love hearing y'all build. It's so awesome. Y'all keep me motivated. Gentlemen, I appreciate y'all. Be safe out there. Rewind back for that hotline number, 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 7233. 1-800-799-7233. That is a domestic violence hotline for men across the United States of America. Even if it keeps you safe on keeping things documented. All right. I love y'all. Be safe. Peace.
She said. He say, she say. I heard it through the grapevine. I guess you could say she was.
Everything in creation and in physical form has its own fundamental resonant frequencies. Everything in creation and in physical form has its own fundamental resonant frequencies.